So when it comes to bad advice, this is kind of the hard thing about fighting games when it comes to like improving and giving advice, because it's not so linear. Like it's not a matter of like you do this combo A B C D rather than what you're doing A B D C. Like obviously there are some you can just undeniably do better. Like if there's a combo that's equally as consistent as another one with no real difference in terms of damage or Oki, there's not much reason to use the first combo unless you just think it looks cool. Since there's a lot of bad misinformation, I actually wanted to do a series breaking down the misinformation, right? I will be your advice whisperer, and we're not going to do this in a way of like how I normally do it. I'm going to tell you what this means, what it means for you, and we're going to explain why they may have said that. So a common one that got memed on a lot that is actually good advice, one of those, what is it, like the charts that are like on the start and finish, it's at the very like top, and then in the center it's in the very like middle. This is basically essentially what mid-level players take advice. So I want to talk about this first, like just taking the throw. If I had to explain what taking the throw would mechanically entail to a new fighting game player. So take the throw usually refers to actively just choosing to block and just accept getting thrown should it come up, rather than trying to react or throw tech to dashes, for example. Which means if I was to say I just need to take the throw against someone, this would mean like if this situation comes up, people in the past have asked me when I've mentioned this, they're like, you just literally let them run up to you and throw you. I'm like, yeah, I literally do. And the reason for that is because you could think of it as like trying to kind of minimize options that come out on offense, but also this is actually, it can be very good risk reward. Take the throw inherently is not bad advice, and I can explain why. So why is take the throw good? This is one of the reasons why I actually wanted to start with this specifically, because this is a good example of how to understand fighting games. Usually with throws, Oki is pretty varied. Depending on the games, like your throw Oki may be really bad or really good, or it may just loop you forever. That's a punk. Still, everyone takes it exactly. Obviously, this is gonna be from the biased case of the Guilty Gear. This is still gonna be a more general approach, right? This is not gonna be specific for any game. So Oki is pretty variable, right? Like depending on your character, matchup, mid-screen, whatever, like Oki could be get sent all screen, right? Important. In fact, I put 5 exclamation marks in there so you know that it is important. Like this is more common in especially like newer games. Usually throws are directly worth, right? In fact, I think some of the best throws in recent memory to me is like what? It may be Strive. I guess like Strive, the throw system in Uni is really interesting. And I think like technically it's very important in that. They may give up Oki or have to call you out. Even in this situation, regardless of damage, this sort of interaction, especially if it sends you like full screen, like if Potemkin does, so it's like, let's say like 50 meter just to like, or let's say 100 meter to RPS with Top Buster, sometimes he just sends you full screen. So it's like, unless he does Kara Hammerfall, like in terms of just raw risk reward, obviously it matters depending on matchup and things like that. Usually you can say there's already a direct difference in some of the outcomes, right? Not all knockdowns in fighting games are equal. Knockdowns are usually comparable. The damage of the situation that led you the knockdown is also very important. This is like the very linear, simple, basic idea of how this shit works, right? So taking the throw, usually it's like around 8% health, right? Like around, I'd say like as a fair estimate, excluding any cancel options or characters that let you combo from throws. This is also important. In fact, some characters are actually kind of designed around you trying to take throws like this, right? In some matchups, it's almost worthwhile to just hold and just take throw until they're out of like their meter, or they burn it for like some weight, like bad shit or anything of the sort. But basically, take the throw, no matter what, will always do a lot less damage than taking the combo, right? Usually vary. So you have to vary what is the damage that I would receive off a throw, right? Versus like, even if I just did not get counter hit, like what's the lowest baseline of damage I can take? And usually, right, taking the combo could be, especially in this, again, the current age, from 30 to 40%, right? Or if you're in Strive, you're dead. Basically, this is the core concept. It may not matter if you get opened up by like 2p6, but the problem in this is in the consistency of what they hit. Of course, anyone can just hit you with 2k2d, especially if you just hold down back and try to like wait for shit. They may just get more ambitious with their offense until you just do something, right? And again, this is where the problem lies, right? The problem of take the throw. It's very strong, but it has a very big weakness. People will adapt to you, right? This is something a lot of people tend to forget, but this is kind of the problem with not just take the throw. Because like, let's say if you're wrong about getting like let's say you try to throw and they shimmy you go to fucking Mars, right? You're dead. If you don't try to throw and they're just like doing mids in your face and they're, you know, hitting you with the yoinky sploinky in front of you, this is where a lot of people like hit their problems. You obviously as a player need time to be able to implement this with success. It's one thing to just know how to do something, but it's different when you implement it and it's executed properly. If you always choose to mash or always choose to only block with little separation, right? Like let's say like 90% of the time you mash or you just hold down that. This is like, if you choose to always mash or always choose to only block with a little separation, you're gonna die. The advantage of taking the throw is that you can force them to commit eventually. In some games, like you'll have dead angle or like some sort of guard cancel, right? They're not always made equal, right? Like I think Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter and DFO, you can throw their guard cancels. Typically, the advantage of taking the throw is that you can force them to commit to try to throw you. But basically, like a good example is if you just do nothing and they like never throw you, then it's like, unless you're playing a game where you get guard crushed, then nothing changes, right? I would say ultimately how I view it is I put a lot of emphasis on the fact that in order to open you up in this position, they have to throw you, right? If they choose not to ever throw you, either like in some other games, like again, Guilty Gear is a great example because it punishes you for being too excessively defensive, but also too aggressively offensive because of risk, right? Like, in fact, that's something why I'd like, one of the wish lists I have the next season is I'd like them to minimize the risk gain on defense for some characters. It would help a lot more people grasp how this thing works a little better, because I feel like a lot of people just like, you just die. You block once and you die. Understand that the core principle of this is to not be predictable. In any case you are overtly predictable, you will just die. Yeah, actually be random. This means also being overtly unpredictable. I feel like I always have to include that. There's definitely gonna be someone who's going to be on my YouTube comments who comments on this and is like, this is the most bullshit I've ever heard. You know, there's someone who replied to my YouTube comments. Someone said, your advice sucks, but you got good boing boings. Subbed. Key thing. People tend to use take the throw or just mash as two correct solutions for situations that do not have correct solutions. The problem with these sort of discussions, I think this is a really good, this is a good write-up. I think I hit it pretty good on this one. But I will say, the more I've written these sort of things, the more I've started to realize I need to just make a chunky video on how to rock, paper, scissors and how to understand it. Essentially, like, I make all these videos and all this content, right, about like OSs and understanding, like, you know, pardon me, let's move on.